Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee. Alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Autos? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. We are locked and loaded, ready to go.
Absolutely. We're really psyched, Joe. We have a really special guest with us tonight.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard from this guy in a while. He used to be down here in Albany with us along the airways on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Now you can catch him out on the No Show with NBC Sports Northwest and Fox Sports Radio all the way out there in Oregon. It's Brian No from the Brian No Show. Brian, it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't have my show in Portland anymore. It's
Oh,
done.
okay. Oh,
But
all
you can
right.
hear me on the weekends.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent. So
full
where are you
thing.
on the weekends then?
Fox Sports Radio.
All right, excellent. So where can we catch you there? Where, if people want to find the No Show, where would they go to find you?
I would just listen to Fox Sports Radio or the iHeartRadio app. Search for Fox Sports Radio on the weekend. They could catch me there.
Excellent. All right, so as you know, a lot of the stuff going on here with Aaron Rodgers, he's very upset with the management and the Green Bay Packers and how they've handled the situation as far as the quarterback situation, coming off an MVP season here, clearly holding out and fine with that, enjoying life. What do you see happening here with the Aaron Rodgers saga and how it's going to play out this year? Do you see him playing with the Packers, or do you see him playing with somebody else?
I think he's going to be back with Green Bay because he doesn't have any options. Like, what's the incentive for the Packers to deal him and they get draft picks that are going to be lower next year? What's the point in doing that? So if I'm the Packers and I absolutely had to trade the guy, I wouldn't do it until the very last second at the deadline, where I'd be in a better position to get higher picks in return for that trade. So Aaron Rodgers' best bet is to play one final year in Green Bay. And it's just a high-stakes game of chicken right now. Is he willing to punt on one of the final seasons he has left to win a championship? I don't think so. I think that he's just a baby. I think he's completely immature. I think he's throwing his little whiny fit right now. But then when he understands that he doesn't have real leverage and he doesn't have better options, I think he bites the bullet and plays one final year in Green Bay. That's how I see it shaking out.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you too as well. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so I heard a lot about you. You know, we've heard your voice from the local area before and everything like that. Know you're a big-time Notre Dame fan. But I'm curious, like, how did you become a Dolphins fan? How'd that all come about?
Say that again? I'm sorry.
How did you become a Dolphins fan?
Oh, I don't know, man. Since I was a little kid, I couldn't even tell you. That was the team that appealed to me.
Yeah.
Could have been, I don't know, the way their helmets look.
Right.
I don't know. I was a tiny kid, but that's always been the team I've stuck with.
And now, speaking about the Dolphins here, they move on from Ryan Fitzpatrick. He gets a job here for Washington. And we saw last year that Brian Flores was quick to pull Tua in that one game, a close game against the Raiders, and put Fitzpatrick in at that moment for him to get the game-winning drive. Now he's not there, and you have Jacoby Brissett, really familiar New England Patriots type of offense here. Do you see them pulling the trigger if there's some kind of shakiness with Tua, or how confident are you in his ability to lead this team?
I mean, I don't know enough about Tua yet in the NFL. That's my whole thing. I think too many people have been quick to jump off the bandwagon as if he can't have any success whatsoever. And that might be the way it unfolds. I don't know that he's going to cut it in the NFL. But his rookie season wasn't as bad as many people make it out to be. He was not just absolutely dreadful. He was a rookie. He was a kid that, he didn't hit the ground running like Justin Herbert. And I think because Herbert was the next pick, it made Tua's rookie season look even worse. But he's a rookie more times than not. Look at Josh Allen with the Bills. It took him a couple of years for the light bulb to really go on. So I would give it a little bit of time. I don't know that this guy is going to pan out, but I know the supporting cast is going to be a lot better this year. And when he gets another year in the system, more familiarity, I give him a fighting chance to be good. I just think it's too early to say no chance, no how with that guy.
Right, I get what you're saying too. I think a lot of times with these teams and with fans especially, they're too quick to pull the trigger and say this guy's trash, he's no good. With only seeing a shortened a little bit of experience out there, like you said, Josh Allen. What was his type of thing? He had no real touch on the ball. Always kind of gunning it, trusting his arm. And now this year was fixed with help from coaching. But then also he got some more weapons, and now Tua has some weapons as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got talent around him. You've got deep options when you pick up Will Fuller. Jalen Waddle I really like as a rookie out of Bama. So you have a legit supporting cast. The O-line it's okay. It's serviceable. You've got some young guys on the O-line. And Gesicki is a good tight end. So you at least have a fighting chance. It's not like, you're surrounded by absolutely nothing whatsoever. So we'll see if he takes a step forward this season or not.
Absolutely. And I'm hearing really good things out of camp about Wilson this year, too. Looking really good in the offseason right now. But
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know exactly, and it's something they've been looking for. And now the other side of things here, the Xavier Howard problem here. You've seen that he got his deal 2 years ago, and now he's since then have some rumblings here with the management as well, and kind of maybe saying I'm open to a trade or why don't they? And you heard things that maybe they might. Do you think that kind of levels out and settles down as the season goes here, or do you see they maybe try to move him?
I think it settles down. I think that, I think one of two things will happen. Either the Dolphins appease him and give him a little bit more money, or they hold firm and say, dude, we just re-upped with you in 2019. What are you doing? And he plays. I don't see this being a big thing where it's unsalvageable. I don't see that being the case.
Yeah, and if all the pieces stay together, I mean, look at this team, the potential of this offensive firepower that they have right now. Like you mentioned, Jalen Waddle, they managed to obtain Will Fuller over here. They grabbed some nice pieces out of the draft with all the draft picks that they had. Liam Eckenberg, who I'm kind of excited for them, for the Dolphins to get him as an offensive lineman. Now, looking forward, do you think that what can the realistic expectations be for the Miami Dolphins this upcoming season?
I can't hear you, man. You say realistic expectations?
Yes.
I don't know. I think they can be a double-digit win team. That's what they were last year. And Tua started a bulk of the games. So I think that just the way the season ended, where Fitzpatrick came in and saved the day against the Raiders, and the Dolphins just fell apart against the Bills, where that's the last thing people remember, and it's as if the team's taking a step back with Tua being the full-time starter. I don't think so. I mean, it could work out that way, but I think that they've got enough talent. The defense was fantastic last year. And when you draft Jalen Phillips out of Miami and Javon Holland, those guys could be contributors year one. So I don't see the defense greatly regressing. And if Tua is serviceable, you definitely have a chance to be a double-digit win team, especially with an extra game. So I'd put him right around 10 wins again.
Yeah, and looking at that and how this division is even tightened up, you've got the Bills who clinched the division last year first in a long time, making the playoffs. It seems like they've got their stuff on the up and up. The Pats, they go all in this offseason and bring in a couple of tight ends and some other weapons, getting some of their older veterans back off of the break from COVID. And the Jets with Zach Wilson trying to restart here. Where do you see your Dolphins even in this division, and what do they have to do to make a push? Because we see them as an up-and-coming team, but now with some of these other teams trying to combat that and they're getting better, where do you see them falling in this division?
I mean, I think they're going to be battling with the Patriots for second place, really. Mm-hmm. I think the Bills are the team to beat in the division. The Jets are going to suck. They might win they might luck out and win 6 games. But they're going to be awful. Yeah. So it's really between the Patriots and the Dolphins who's going to finish in second place. Unless, listen, man, it's the NFL. Things go haywire. We all thought the Niners were going to be a great team last year on the heels of a Super Bowl appearance, and they were ravaged by injuries. So you never know. I mean, maybe the Bills are that team this year. It's hard to say, but I mean, just as it stacks up talent-wise, I would expect the Dolphins and Patriots to be battling for second place.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like that again. And no matter what, we got a lot of Jets fans out here. I think last year they thought they were going to be stupendous. Year before that, they thought they were going to be stupendous. When they got Le'Veon Bell, they were going to go all the way. So we hear it all the time. We know what it's like. Speaking of close divisions as well, Joe is a Raiders fan over here. And he has to compete, with, the Chiefs now, see them go and win a Super Bowl for the first time in forever. Patrick Mahomes naming lights all over the place. He's meanwhile has Gruden back. He's got Derek Carr there. Josh Jacobs looks amazing. But now you've got Justin Herbert there too with the Chargers. And the Broncos, we're hearing about, Aaron Rodgers linked to them. Are they going to make the push and throw some trades out there to get him? Now that division's real tight. How do you see that division falling out?
It's the Chiefs division unless something crazy happens.
Yeah.
Basically what it is. The Broncos are morons for not drafting a quarterback. I don't know what the hell they're thinking with the two-headed monster of Drew Lock and Teddy Two Gloves. That's ridiculous. Huh? What they're doing. And I love these Bronco fans. Like, they're just waiting for Rodgers. Like, shut up. We don't even know that Aaron Rodgers is getting traded. That's not a plan at all. I hate hearing that. And there's no way that the plan's going to take shape with enough time for Rodgers to have a legitimate shot to win a championship elsewhere. So it's ridiculous. It's right. Like, it's the Chiefs division, the Chargers. Hey, if they're blessed with better help, they can be a nasty team this year. They didn't have Derwin James at all. Joey Bosa was banged up a lot last year. Justin Herbert shocked me last year. I did not see him playing that well as a rookie or ever. I saw him many times at Oregon. I saw all of his games. I wasn't impressed at all. And then all of a sudden, he's just the real deal in the NFL. It was a stunner. So they absolutely hit gold with that pick, it looks like. And if they're blessed with better health, I think the Chargers can be a surprise team this year. The Broncos don't have a quarterback. And the Raiders, look, Derek Carr is a lot better than anybody gives him credit for. But their defense is trash. They can't stop anybody. And in that division, when you're facing Mahomes and Herbert, you're going to be, hovering around 500. That's just where they've been for a little while under Gruden.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about it over and over again. Again, I hear it from Joe too. And we've seen their red zone problems. Gruden gets into the red zone and just can't get it done there. It seems like they could have a nice little two-headed monster running back there for them. But like you said, defense is where it all starts here. They got to fix it there. Tom Leiter's in the house with us tonight. I'm just going to give a shout out to him. He says Carr isn't a top quarterback. So sorry, Joe. Our buddy Tom Leiter, he's a Seattle Seahawks fan. All the way out there. Do you have any links or anything about Seattle right now? I know they're having problems with, Jamal Adams now isn't showing up for mandatories, and they have the Aldon Smith thing they're dealing with. Any news out of Seattle that you know about?
I mean, it's just, it's all noise because basically as long as Seattle has Russell Wilson, they're going to be in the mix. And Carlos Dunlap, he made a big time impact when they traded for him halfway through the season because, as you guys know, Seattle's defense was just historically bad for half the year. And then they got better the second half of the season, and Carlos Dunlap, he made an impact. So did Jamal Adams. He missed some time, but he made an impact. I just don't, like, here's the thing, trading 2 first-round picks and then paying Jamal Adams on top of that, he is a good player. He's an elite run defender, but he's average at best in pass coverage, and he doesn't play one of the 4 most important positions, where it's quarterback, left tackle, corner, and edge rusher. He's not that guy. So to give up that much for him, I mean, look at the Rams. They gave up 2 first-rounders and paid Jalen Ramsey, but he plays one of those 4 top positions. I would rather do that than have to bite the bullet for Jamal Adams. Again, a very good player. I just think they're paying too much in money and also draft compensation to get him. But, it seems like they've patched things up, at least Russ and the organization. They're playing nice now. Russ is butting into Pete Carroll's press conferences, and it's all lovey-dovey, and it's just sickening. But as long as Russell Wilson is there, I call him Russell Copperfield. He's high maintenance off the field, but you know what? Some people are worth it. He's one of those people who is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when it came out with him being disgruntled, we heard about it with Deshaun Watson and now Aaron Rodgers, same thing. They want to be more involved with what goes on with management. And I understand Russell Wilson's point of view, though, too, because when you were leading in sacks at like 40-plus for the 5 consecutive years, that's a problem. And luckily for them, he hasn't been really injured or anything. And he is, like you said, a lot of the team when he has no help at offensive line at all.
Yeah, it's a weird case, right? Because if Russell Wilson didn't do everything in the offseason that he did, that'd be one thing, right? But if you say, hey, I'm taking a little bit too much punishment, okay, that's one thing. Hey, here's a list of 4 teams I'd be cool with being traded to, even though I have a no trade clause.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're just throwing it out there.
What are you doing right now? And it's just funny how he minimizes. What it comes down to, he doesn't know he's high maintenance. That's the crazy. He doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Because on the receiving end, those are 5 alarm fires, right? For the Seahawks. Like, do we have to trade this guy? Is he out of here? Like, what's going on? And Russell's version is, oh yeah, that was just, teams were calling and I just gave him a list in case, whatever. But that's all it was. And he explained his shot at the O-line like, oh, they know I wasn't throwing them under the bus. So that was no problem. He doesn't realize he's high maintenance. So I just think that if he would have said, I'm taking a little bit too much punishment. Okay. But on top of everything else he did in the offseason, it was just an onslaught of high maintenance Russ this offseason. And now he's over it and he's just trying to move on. It's easier for him to move on than everybody else that are caught in the crosshairs of drama.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like, say you're in a relationship, you feel and getting a little rocky, you might get dumped and you're like, well, if you do dump me, I got these other girls I'm interested right now, so I'll be okay, But absolutely, I hear you there too. I thought for a while, it seemed like right after that Super Bowl and they got right back to it, it seemed like he started to get a little bit of that diva-ness kind of to him. But you kind of let it slide with him, though, as well, because what he is able to do on the field, too, with his legs and his arm, too. He's not just one of those scrambling running quarterbacks. He can get it done for you. Tom, go ahead.
And I think real quick, too, like, if you really think about Russ being at the Super Bowl and watching Tom Brady, I really do. I think that Tom Brady is making business a lot harder for a lot of organizations because Russ wants the Tom Brady treatment. Aaron Rodgers wants the Tom Brady treatment. He wants to have pull with the organization. He wants to have say. He wants to say, hey, let's get in Antonio Brown and, Gronk or whatever version is that. And the reality is, like, Russell Wilson, as dynamic as he is, Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is, y'all aren't Tom Brady, right? Like, you don't have 6 rings like Tom Brady did going into last year with Tampa and then when he won his 7th. So when he says, hey, I want AB, he has way more cachet than 1 ring Russ and 1 ring Rodgers. And so those respective organizations, they're dealing with a lot more drama because Russ and Aaron Rodgers think they should have the same pull that Tom Brady has, and they shouldn't. I think they should have more say, don't get me wrong, and they'd be wise to listen to those guys. But there are organizations looking at them sideways like, you do realize you're not Tom Brady, right? And it's as if Russ and Aaron are like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
What do we mean?
Yeah, we are the elite. Yeah, absolutely. I know. And that's the thing you do see. You see that treatment, and they want to be like that. I think all those guys want to feel that kind of treatment there. Tom Leiter, he's checking in again. He says, didn't we get the tackle or guard from the Raiders that gave up only 1 sack, Joe? Yeah, you got that one. And he says, Russell Wilson picked the OC, or at least helped, he said here in this one too. So, yeah, I mean, he does. It's one thing to give him say. Like the one thing, like I said, when you talk about these guys, because it is a slippery slope. If you say you're part of the, picking who we have, as part of management, that you can be involved in the situation, as far as I'm concerned. But not as far as handpicked, this is what my guy, this is my guy, this is my guy. Then it starts to be a problem of how much like power do players have over the whole organization. I think you see that with LeBron James in the NBA, and that for me tends to be a problem, and it could send you down a slippery slope in the NFL.
Yeah, look, it can be dangerous either way.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Houston before the legal trouble with Deshaun Watson, when he's like, hey, I want to be involved. And they're like, we're good. We've got this, Deshaun. Just play quarterback. And it sends him over the edge. Like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
You know? So it's dangerous to say, hey, Russell Wilson, throw the football, okay? Like, you don't know anything about personnel decisions. That's not a good path to take. And to your point, yeah, it can be dangerous the other way because you don't want to turn a quarterback into the GM. So I think it's just you got to play the game. You got to keep those guys involved in the process. And you preface it. You just say, hey, we want your opinion. We want you to be part of this process. We can't guarantee that we're going to do everything that you want us to do, but we value what you think. And when it makes sense, we will do it. I think if you just go about it that way, then he's not going to be mad that you don't do everything he wants you to do. It's just you can't tell him to go throw out patterns and, stick to quarterback stuff. That's just not going to fly in today's day and age.
Right. I hear you, and I agree with you on that point as well. We are talking to Brian Noe from The Noe Show, Fox Sports Radio. I want to touch on even the NFC East. I know you used to broadcast out here in Albany with us. Let's talk a little bit about them quick. And because it's an intriguing type of division, it's always called the NFC least. We get that, but it's always close. These teams are always battling back and forth. Last year, we got to see it. A lot of teams or people didn't expect the Washington football team, the team with no name, even to finish higher than last, but even take the division and make a playoff run and almost pull out of a win against the now champions Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in that division, with Dak Prescott coming back from the ankle injury, now Daniel Jones has some more weapons, Kenny Golladay there. Now the Eagles moving on with Jalen Hurts, it seems like, for them at quarterback, at least for now. What about that division? Who do you see making some moves in that division, or will it be Washington again?
I don't think it's Washington. I love their defense, but Fitzpatrick, he's good fits, he's bad fits. He's kind of like Las Vegas, really. It's just funny when Vegas has a point spread that is right on the money. We're Vegas, how do they know so much? How did they do it again? Yeah. And that's what we do with Ryan Fitzpatrick. But you know what? Vegas is wrong a lot of times. There are plenty of games where the end result is nowhere near the point spread. We're not. What the hell was Vegas thinking there? Yeah. Like, that's what we do with Ryan Fitzpatrick. There are plenty of times where he makes awful decisions, and we're not like, what is that, Fitzpatrick? We just celebrate when he's awesome. But he's a mixed bag. He's good, he's bad. And that's what he's going to be in Washington, because that's what he's been his whole career. So I love Washington's defense, but Fitz isn't going to be some difference maker at all over the long haul. So I think that the Cowboys getting Dak back, that's a big deal. It absolutely will help their defense out. So I think they are the team to beat in the division. And really with the G-men, it's just, can Daniel Jones do something? Can he take a step forward while holding on to the football instead of giving it to the other team? When you rattle off these guys, right? Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton is a good player. You pick Kadarius Toney in the first round. Evan Ingram, you could do worse. I know he's been a disappointment at tight end, but you could do worse. And to get Saquon Barkley back, that's more than enough for you if you're legit to put up some type of decent production. So it's all about Daniel Jones. Can you not be a disaster going forward?
Right, and I agree with you there too. And back when Eli was there, I was a big Eli supporter, and I get hatred for that and things. But I kind of give people second chances, and enough to screw it up enough. I've done the same thing. I wanted the Giants to draft Daniel Jones. I didn't want to really – I thought they could wait a little further on in the first round to get him still. I think they pulled the trigger a little early. Maybe they were getting shaken by maybe murmurings from Washington, maybe wanted him or whatever. They grabbed him. And, again, I'm giving them a chance here and there, but there were times last year I just watch him and I'm like, we're seriously out of these games just because – not even just poor play altogether, but – poor play in the wrong moments. In the bigger moments when you needed them, that's when it happened. It was epic. You're like, duh, I see it now.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I'm just thinking that, you talk about taking Daniel Jones too soon, and I hear you. 6th overall pick. Justin Herbert was the 6th overall pick. Can you imagine if Daniel Jones was as good as Herbert? Just think about what you would have with that franchise. I mean, that's just the difference between hitting on a QB and not.
Yeah, absolutely. Where you're talking developmental and a guy that's already, right there, easy made, boom, right there for you. And the one thing I like about Justin Herbert, too, is his demeanor. He's got that stone cold face that he might make a mistake here and there, but he's already past it. He's just ready to go. And he's got ice in his veins. And I think that's good for a team there for the Los Angeles Chargers to have somebody like that. I think moving on, I think he was the right type of guy to move on from right after a Phillip Rivers, who was like the family guy, but then he was also super high-strung, like pissed off all the time, had that nasty look on his face, and things like that, highly competitive. Moving on from him, who was kind of turned out to be a turnover, guy all the time, to now Justin Herbert getting it done, looking good first year in the league, and now some of these young sharpshooters here making a name for the NFL and turning them into the next new stars.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the guy. I'm stunned he was that good last year, but man, future is bright for the Chargers. And we'll see. Look, the hope is for a Giants fan that all of a sudden Daniel Jones is like Josh Allen with the Bills, because Josh Allen was inaccurate. He was inconsistent his first 2 years. Yeah. And you're thinking going into year 3, is this going to be our future quarterback? And they surrounded him with as much as they could, traded for Trayvon Diggs or Diggs over there.
Stephon Diggs, yep.
Stephon Diggs. Sorry, I'm getting my Diggs mixed up.
I hear it. We do it all the time.
But Stephon was great last year. And that's what the Giants are doing. They're trying to surround Daniel Jones with enough where hopefully he takes the step forward. But they've at least surrounded him with enough where if he doesn't, they're like, okay, we can feel comfortable going forward. This isn't a Sam Darnold type situation where we're still like, but was it just the supporting cast or was it him? You at least know that if Daniel Jones doesn't get it done this year, it's because of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you'll know, because again, you got to look at the next contract set up. Do you take up another year or not? That's what people are asking, even with some of these other teams or players on their rookie year. This is a show me kind of year for a lot of those guys. I think Baker Mayfield's one of them too for the Browns. He's kind of on the up and coming again this year, coming back with Kevin Stefanski's offense after it looked like the first season looked pretty good. He has all the weapons around him. Then, not so good the next season. And now under Kevin Stefanski with a nice solid running game too. Nick Chubb back there, as well. It was just there's too much talent there for that team to not go far. But you talked about Sam Darnold a little bit now and just keeping up with the way New York sports have been for us. Now he's down there with the Carolina Panthers here, reunited with his former weapon there and some other guys there. Now for them, he kind of has that chance to show what you really have in him now, because that's the one excuse you always had for him with the New York Jets. Who is he throwing to? And now you've got Robbie Anderson there as well and some other guys too. How do you think he's going to perform down there for the Carolina Panthers?
He's going to be average at best. I think Sam Darnold is just a guy.
Yeah.
But, he's surrounded by a lot more. DJ Moore is a legit weapon. Robbie Anderson. They took Terrace Marshall in the second round. And, look, Christian McCaffrey coming back from injury. That's more than enough. Like, talent around you where if you're legit, you're going to put up some decent numbers. I don't believe in the guy.
Yeah.
And look, I wouldn't be shocked if he proved me wrong because we've seen quarterbacks go to other situations and be surrounded by more, and it's just a better fit. He wasn't surrounded by much in New York, but man, the people just rushing to the defense of Sam Darnold, like this poor man, he didn't have anybody around him. And he contributed to the woes as well. Yeah. It was not just everybody else and not Sam whatsoever. The dude was totally inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what he does this year, but I'm not expecting for anything lavish over there. I'm expecting for average play. He might have a couple of decent passes, decent games here and there, and you think maybe, and then he's like, no, psych, sorry to get your hopes up there. I'm just Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it's like that fool's gold kind of. Like you see just enough, you're like, oh, there it is, and they're like, no, it's not there now, is it? And like, oh, it's just enough to confuse fans, let alone GMs and other guys out there, coaches that are looking at them, But yeah. So, I mean, looking at some of the other teams around the league, a lot of moves are made, a lot of different quarterbacks on other teams. You see Carson Wentz over there with the Colts now, too, as well. Now, out of some of the moves that all 32 teams have made, is there any particular team you're taking a look at? Like, ooh, this team might be sneaky here.
I mean, I think the Niners coming back healthier is a big deal for them. And I also think that it's an interesting dynamic with them getting Trey Lance. Is Jimmy Garoppolo, is this kind of his Alex Smith with the Chiefs last year, when Alex Smith led the league in passer rating with Mahomes over his shoulder? I mean, Jimmy G, he knows the deal. This is a dress rehearsal for the rest of the league. So this is a big, big year, however many games Jimmy G is starting, because he's on rehearsal for everybody else in the league going forward.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a team to watch for sure. I'm intrigued by the Rams with Stafford. I'm curious how that's going to work out. And, I mean, obviously it's the Packers. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Does he come back? I think he does, but it's Aaron Rodgers. If anybody is stubborn enough to, have a stance based on principle that ends up hurting him just as much, it's Aaron Rodgers. I could totally see him saying, nope, I'm dug in. Yeah, it's one of my last chances to win a Super Bowl, but whatever, I'm dug in. I could see him doing that. I don't think he will, but I could see him doing that. So that's another team to watch.
Absolutely. Sure. We've heard rumors about him cutting off ties with family members. And then when people see him in person, he might be like, oh, I thought you were a bit taller. He gets pissed off about that. He just has that chip on his shoulder about everything. I think even from how he felt a little bit in that draft, when he got drafted, he was kind of pissed off about that. So I think he always has that edge on him about himself, and you hear that about him a lot. As far as Matthew Stafford, we've always been kind of proponents of him, kind of sneakily doing things there for the Lions, and one of the quicker quarterbacks to reach 10,000 yards passing. How much of an impact do you think he could have for the Rams? And I know a lot of people were kind of just like, yeah, okay, it's Matthew Stafford.
Oh, I think he could have a big impact for that team. It's look, the losing with Detroit, it had way more to do with the pieces around Stafford than it did Stafford. Stafford put up legitimate numbers over there. And look, he's had some good talent. Megatron, obviously, right? It's not like he's been surrounded with nothing. But the reason for the losses, it had way more to do with the pieces around him collectively than it did him. So, yeah, to go to the Rams, I mean, that to be matched up with Sean McVay is a big deal. So he has been one of the, at least passing quarterback wise, he's been one of the better passing quarterbacks for a long time. It's just, I don't know if you could have magically put other quarterbacks in that Detroit situation. I'm really curious how they would have fared compared to how Stafford did. And some would have fared better, but I don't know by leaps and bounds. I really don't. I just think that the deck was stacked against him. And to get a new lease and to go to a completely different place with the Rams, I think you've got enough to work with there. And you've got, two top defenders, and Aaron Donald is just a stud. And Jalen Ramsey is there too, where if you are competent offensively, you're going to win a lot of games. So I like the spot that he's in. That is worlds better than where he was in Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely good for him. It's rough for Jared Goff, but that's the cards he's been dealt there with what they're doing there with Detroit. But we'll see what happens with them. And just to touch on Jimmy G real quick too, is just I think his moment for me. There was a game last season. I think they played a primetime game against the Seattle Seahawks, and the game was tight. And this is where I paid attention to the screen and watched Jimmy G. Can he bring them back on this drive to get back in the game? Even after Russell Wilson made a grave mistake and threw a pick, and it looked like it was over for them. He was not able to do it. He kind of froze in that moment, and that's when I knew there that when he got into the Super Bowl, it was 2 seasons ago. That was it for me. That made it up for my mind. And then I seen him in the Super Bowl, and it was that Cam Newton moment for me. Like when Cam made it to the Super Bowl, kind of psyched himself out, got into that game against the Broncos, and he was never got a rhythm, was never ready for that big moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, and it might sound like a strange comparison, but I think Jimmy G and Baker Mayfield are very similar, where Jimmy G was a guy, like, look, we all remember the overthrow in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And that shows you his limitations. But it's like that's stuck in our mind so much. It's as if we've forgotten everything else about Jimmy G, where he's a dude where if the running game is working and you've got the play action pass going, he's serviceable. I mean, he is a serviceable guy. He's just been incredibly banged up, and he is limited in ways. That's Baker Mayfield. Like, aside from being banged up, Baker has been more durable than Jimmy G. But Baker really took off in Kevin Stefanski's offense. And when you've got a stud running game and you're able to use play action off of that, he can function in a system like that. And it's similar to Jared Goff. Like, those guys, I think, are all in the same clump, where Jared Goff, Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, if you can rely on the running game, if you can use play action passing, if you don't ask the quarterback to do too much because they're all limited, then they can function with that. I just think that there are similarities between those three guys. And look, Baker and Jared Goff were both first overall picks, Jimmy G in the second round. I just think that there are strengths of theirs, but it's got to be tailored specifically to what they do well, because if you ask them to do what they don't do well, they're a fish out of water.
Absolutely. We're talking to Brian Noe from the No Show, Fox Sports Radio. Now, you're a rock guy, right? So I was watching some of your program and clips that you had. I saw that you had Mark Morton from Lamb of God on your show. You got to jam and play for him a little bit. How was that for you? How exciting was that for you to have him on there?
That was fun, man. Mark Morton's a great dude. I've met him a couple of times. He's come to town and played shows and all that. So a couple of years ago, he came into the studio and we just talked for about an hour. So, yeah, he's a great dude. That was fun. I'm a huge metal guy. I'm actually all over the place music-wise. Pretty much you name it.
Well, let me ask you quick then right now. Who do you, if you go into your car, you know, you're going, what are you into right now? What's the band you're feeling right now? Anybody new?
Most times I just go with my Spotify playlist. Yeah. And that's, like, it's eclectic. It's anything under the sun. Metal wise, it's a lot of Lamb of God, old school Slayer stuff. But it could be rap, it could be whatever, you name it. But I'm open to a lot of genres. Metal has always been my favorite. But I don't know why I hate jam bands. Freaking
nice.
Hate
I love you.
Red. If you throw on some Grateful Dead or Fish, I will want to fight you. I will want to hit you in the face repeatedly. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm a maniac. I just freaking hate it. I can't stand it.
I hear you. And what's funny is my wife and I, that's the dynamic we have. Me, I'm Kill Switch Engage, Lamb of God, Motionless in White. She is, you know, Allman Brothers, stuff like that. And I'm just like, and I had to go to one of their concerts one time, and I wanted to drive a nail through my forehead. I could not take it because I'm like, is this guitar solo still going? Like, what are they got to do? Just finish the song, right?
It's weird, man. Like, I can't explain myself, because if there's such a happy vibe, like a happy-go-lucky vibe, when it's a jam band, there's something that triggers something in my brain where I see red. I hate it. But there are plenty of happier songs, like Pharrell has that song Happy. And it's upbeat and it's jovial. I love that song. No issue with it at all. But if you give me a long, drawn-out guitar solo and kind of like a hippie vibe, I freaking hate it. I don't understand why. I just do.
Well, I think it is, too. It's the fact it's like it's cool to have a solo. We get it, and you're enjoying the moment. But can you enjoy the moment for 10 minutes right in a row? Like, seriously? Like, come on. Give me a break. Like, and I understand, with mainstream radio, you got your 3-part section of a song, 3 minutes tops, boom. I get that. We have that. But then metal, I love the leads, too. Still have some lead guitar going there, because a lot of time in metal and rock, you were missing that lead. They just went 3 parts, boom, finished, done, cut piece, dry. Right. You know what I mean?
And I think, too, even if you're a metal guy, like, think about that. If a metal band just had a solo for 8 minutes, you'd be like, guys, this is a bit much. Right? Like, even though you like the genre and like the band, I think you're onto something there. It's too much. You're going way too long.
Absolutely. You love the song for the way the song is played in the first off. You don't need to make it a super extended version. You know what I mean? I think that's what killed a lot of the 80s music. They kept doing the extended versions, like Tainted Love. I don't need to hear that 10 minutes long, right? Give me a break. You're killing me. But But now that, after COVID and everything has all happened, they shut down all those shows and stuff too. Is there a concert you're looking forward to this year? Do you maybe want to go to? It's been so long. Who are you excited to go see?
I don't know, man. It's not even. It really hasn't even been on my radar yet. I was supposed to say I still live in Portland. I'll be moving out of here pretty soon. But I was supposed to see Rage with a friend. A friend of mine was going to come up. We were going to see Rage,
nice,
which would have been fun. I think that would have been a really good show to see. I've never seen those dudes in concert, but a lot of the metal bands, I've seen the Lambs a few times. I've seen Slayer a few times. So it's always cool to see a band that you love that you haven't seen ever before.
Right.
And most of the metal bands that I like, I've seen before. So I don't know. I would probably say Rage would be one of those that I would like to go see. And I don't even know if they're coming back on tour. I'll just have to see. But yeah, I haven't even gotten into that mindset of like, hey, we could actually go to concerts again.
Right. Yeah, I know. And I got to see Rage Against the Machine at Woodstock up here, the last one that they had in New York. And that was pretty crazy. And I just got an alert that the Skillet concert I was supposed to go to last year or year before is back on. So I'm excited that is still going on. They redeemed my ticket still. So I'm excited to go see them and From Ashes to New. And I think a big key is like you're saying, going to see a band live, you want to finally go see them. I think it matters in their point in career as well. Well, ever since I was little, I was raised as a Bon Jovi fan, love Bon Jovi, this and this. But unfortunately, I didn't see him until he was probably almost 50 or something like that. By then, I kind of missed I didn't get to see, Living on a Prayer or anything like that. And some of the major, key high moments, of his career, he's singing them on a lower tune now and even skipping over them altogether. So I think that matters a lot, too, when you go see some of those bands you enjoy and key moments in their career as well.
Yeah, I've always been open to, beyond metal as well. Like I saw Santana one time and he was great. I saw him in Nashville. I saw Brad Paisley was out there, and I think he was at Saratoga one year. And freaking Brad can jam. Like for a country guy, dude, Brad wails. So I enjoyed that show. I saw B.B. King a number of times when he was still around, and Buddy Guy. I love blues. So like stuff like that. Like if we're back and functioning again, and it's like that, like, hey, so-and-so is going to be coming through town next week. And I'm like, oh, man, I've always wanted to see that guy or whatever. I'd be up for all kinds of random stuff as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. So, you might have one of those bands, Buddy Guy, but then if it's like Derek Truck's band opening up for him, you're going to show up later then, right?
I don't know, man. One of those. I'm a weird dude in terms of music. I'm open-minded for the most part. And just when you think, oh, yeah, no kind of likes almost everything, that's when I want to fight you because you're playing Fish.
Don't get us started here on that. But, Brian, oh, man, we love having you on here. It's been a pleasure. We're Football on the Know. You're Brian Know. I think it just fits together. We call our following know-it-alls. So welcome to the team. Pleasure having you on board with us tonight. You can follow Brian Know on Twitter, and he's also on Fox Sports Radio, The Brian Know Show. Thanks so much, and hopefully we'll talk to you when the season starts.
Yeah, man, sounds good. Always good talking ball with you guys. So thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Take care. All right, there's Brian Noe, everybody.
There you go. Hey, and Brian Noe delivered. Yeah, I mean, what a great dude. Very knowledgeable, down to earth. Like, I mean, what else can you say? Guy knows his stuff. You know, bottom line. So, and it's not like a lot of these other guys where they're like one-trick ponies, you know what I mean, where they're just vastly knowledgeable in one thing. Whatever. No, Brian Noe's got everything. Like, he understands the game of football. He understands the teams. He understands players and situations and all that. So it was a great interview, and I'm going to say that it was probably the best interview we've had. And I say we, but really what I mean is you, because for some reason – couldn't hear me for some reason.
Yeah, well, I think it's just so far we had to use the other microphone over there from my computer to make it all work because technology is the way it is. But that's what I mean. It's cool. It's one of those guys that I remember listening to on the team when I first moved back here to New York from Arizona. And I got to hear him, and I loved the fact that he was just straight up with you. Made you think about some situations, too. Gave you situations. You know what I mean? This is a compelling story. What do you guys think about this? And then every now and then he breaks out his guitar and starts jamming a little bit, on the radio and stuff. A lot of fun. Our type of dude.
Yeah,
Hopefully
definitely.
we can see and talk to him
and it was really cool to kind of like peel back the curtain with Brian Noe. Like you mentioned, like he's a metal guy, but he likes all kinds of different genres of music. You know, he's into just about everything. And to learn that about him and to get his in-depth opinions about a lot of the topics that are circulating right now around the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing it did suck, I guess, because I checked his Twitter page out too, and it shows Oregon, and Rip City Radio and NBC Sports Northwest, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't do that anymore." So I'm like, "Oh man, this interview is going to be rough." And I'm like, "Geez, I didn't do enough homework, I guess."
You're fine.
I should have talked a little better there, but
no worries.
Oh well, it was a lot of fun.
Worries.
Hopefully, we'll talk to him soon when the NFL season starts again.
Absolutely.
But Joe, you know what time it is? It's time to check out Raise Energy, dude. I'm
Yeah,
so
buddy.
amped right now. There's a promo code, Raise 'em Up. Raise Energy, Joe. I'm drinking the Galaxy, right now. This is a tropical blend.
I just got this right here. I got the guava mango. I mean, yeah, and I'll tell you this right now. It's interesting because usually when you get like mango drinks, like even just the juice mango, right? Sometimes it's a little too sweet, a little too bitter almost. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by this one right here. Guava mango from Raise. Really good.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
What you do is you go to repsports.com. You type in the promo code, raise them up. Here it is one more time. If you guys haven't seen it, raise them up. That's our code. You'll get the
you get that promo
discount.
code there.
You get the discount, and right now they're doing a deal where you give 5 pre-mixed powders too as well. That's like a $5 value you're getting all for free as well.
You get the 4 cans and you get a few powders to go with you. So they're on the go powders that you can your 17-ounce bottle of water. Pop your powder in. There, you got some energy for the day. They also send you 4 cans, like I mentioned before. All you got to do is pay for shipping. They're doing a promo right now. You just pay for shipping. I think it's like $10 shipping, and then boom, you're gonna get yourself a free sampler pack. You go to the link repsports.com. We have the link down below on our little ticker there.
Absolutely.
But, make sure you also put in the promo code just so you can get that deal. Raise them up and enjoy. You won't be disappointed. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the only energy drinks that I've taken in, and I don't crash afterwards. After the energy wears off, I don't crash. I don't feel drowsy. I don't feel anything. I feel ready to go. Just take on the world. You know what I mean? So raise them up. Get that promo code in there. Order yourself some Raise. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, enough about Raise, though, but we love it. Again, I don't really like a whole lot of different energy drinks, but these ones I like. I'll support this all the way. Brian, no, it's funny when he talked about also the Aaron Rodgers thing. He thinks that he's got to play there, you know what I mean? Or
one more year at least.
One more year. And I think that's an interesting dynamic because I've heard from Bleacher Report, too, that maybe there's a line out there that if Denver can give up those 2, it's a first round for next year, second round for next year, and then a 2023 first. Now that's a conversation starter, and Denver's still making a push for it. Jay Glazer says out there that it's still wide open. So if you're down and you make the phone calls,
and that's the interesting thing too. Is Jay Glazer says it's still wide open, but Is it really, though? I mean, because here's the thing is the one thing that has to get the conversation started for any team that's interested in, whether it be Denver Broncos or whoever, you got to like stunt the other team. Like you have to make an offer that's like, whoa, shit, we need to look at this. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers, 37 years old. You know, I think he's got a few more years left in him. Obviously, you know, Tom Brady's still going. And being at 37 with Aaron Rodgers and how great of a quarterback he is in the NFL, you got to at least start the conversation with, I think, 3 first-rounders. I mean, you just have to, because if Matt Stafford gets traded, who happens to be 35, 2 years younger than Aaron Rodgers, doesn't have as many accolades as Aaron Rodgers, you know, doesn't have a Super Bowl ring and all that jazz, but Matt Stafford, 35 years old, gets traded to the Rams for 2 first-rounders. So if you're talking about Aaron frickin' Rodgers, you got to give up
league MVP even too recently,
just past year. So you got to give up some real nuggets there to get Green Bay's attention, 1, and 2, to get the wheels turning here a little bit to maybe even pull off a mega deal like this.
Yeah, and you know, it's when you talk about the Broncos, and I don't have a whole lot of you know, angst towards the Broncos. You might even too, just because you're, you know, the AFC West.
I'm not worried about the Broncos,
and I'm not, because the Giants just seem to handle them in Super Bowls pretty easily.
And I will agree with Brian Noe about how they're a bunch of morons for not drafting a quarterback. I thought for sure,
but
for sure, I thought they were going to draft a quarterback, and they decided not to. And I was like, interesting.
Right.
Let's see how this plays out, Cotton.
It's the same thing that happens over and over again. And
Drew
for
Lock,
them, and this
Teddy
is what
Bridgewater.
I'm looking at is, and I've talked about it with some other Broncos fans that I know. There are some of you out there. The fact that your solution every time is swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss.
Right.
Peyton Manning.
Swing
and a miss,
right.
swing and a miss, swing and a miss. All right, we're gonna get Aaron Rodgers now. Boom, boom. Yeah, it's like, all right, so you're gonna miss, and then bank everything, get your guy.
I mean, that's the thing too,
to
is
try and get a Super Bowl quick, and then lose everything again, and then bank. You know,
but
it just seems like
just
that's
like you
what
were
they're trying to
saying,
do.
swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was supposed to be their guy. They traded up in the first round to get Tim Tebow. He was going to be the answer, the future franchise player and everything. It looked promising early on, but that was because they were doing a lot of college offense. They were doing some gimmicky plays with Tim Tebow, and it worked. For a short amount of time, it worked until defenders and defenses started figuring him out. And then it was a train wreck after that. So they still haven't. And here's the thing is, you know, when John Elway was the GM, you know, they put all the faith in him. Like, hey, you used to be a quarterback. You should know what it takes to not only be a quarterback, but also maybe you know what it takes to find a quarterback for us. And as many years as he was at that seat as a GM, just still couldn't nail it. Not at all. Peyton Manning was easy. If you were managed to bring Peyton Manning and you already knew what you were getting, it was proven. But they keep missing every other time that they try to either bring in a quarterback from free agency or minus, Peyton Manning, obviously, or the draft. They just don't make the right decisions going forward. So now you have Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. A lot of people are saying that it looks like it's Teddy Bridgewater all the way.
So far he's getting more of the reps to the first team.
And not. I mean, I kind of like Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. I don't think he's obviously he's not a great quarterback. He's not super good, not going to bring you to the Super Bowl, really. But he'll be at least make you competitive. You know what I mean? Being a first time in the offense with Denver, let's see what he can do. I mean, but he does make mistakes, and that's what kind of holds him back. So that situation altogether, like, yeah, okay, roll the dice, new face, new quarterback. Let's see where we can go. Vic Fangio, great defensive mind. We've seen it year in and year out. His defenses are usually either pretty good or dynamite. So let's see if he can make some magic happen this year with that defense. And really that's all they have is defense. So if they can manage any kind of points, just like Brian Noe said about the Niners, Jimmy G coming back, can he stay healthy? All he's got to do is manage the offense and put up a few points here and there, and the defense will do the rest. Same thing could happen in Denver.
And see this is what I like about Brian Noe too as well. I mean, he's even not on the line with us right now, so we're just talking about this and we're honest about this. Not just kissing his ass just because he was with us, but he's straight up. He'll tell you straight up. You know what I mean? Straight up honest opinion, bam, bam, bam. Again, Sam Darnold, I say what a lot of people around here think. You know, a lot of people hate him. A lot of people like him. Still think he might be able to do something. I mean, Matt Rule, he must think they see something with him to make it work there for them.
I like Darnold.
Again, a lot of people aren't sold on it. I'm like, but it is one of those things that you see a lot with some of these players, and I think it's sometimes just there's so many different things in media. Like we're talking, and we're from Albany, New York. There's other places out there. There's YouTube videos, blah, blah, blah. Anybody can express their opinion about certain people.
Oh, yeah.
And you're hearing it all over, and everybody's got a judgment call. You've seen so much of these guys with highs and lows that you're still kind of confused, but that's the way it can be with these guys. It's not going to be perfect. I remember growing up with Phil Simms as a quarterback, and I thought he was the greatest thing in the world because he did. We were able to get, a couple of championships there for the Giants, and there you go. But he had his ups and downs. You're not guaranteed to get the best quarterback, in this particular pick every time. You get some quarterbacks, you're going to have the growing pains. And an unfortunate thing is with some of these GMs, like I was saying with Brian Noe and coaches, when you see some of those nice, bright, highlighted spots, but then some of the bonehead mistakes, it's tough to gauge some of these guys. Look at Daniel Jones. You're on this next year. You're trying to gauge what you really have in him.
Got to prove it.
And he's got some of the best deep balls out there, most accurate out of all quarterbacks in the NFL right now on the deep ball. You've seen it. But then ball handling, control, in the pocket, not having that presence to know somebody's around there ready to reach their hand out and get the strip sack, feeling hurried and then make a bad mistake. Take care of the football and then not make mistakes. Like I told Brian Noe there, you see them in the crucial moments of the game, not to make the mistakes there, to try and fix that and shine in those moments. But is that a lot to ask? I'm sure it is. What a lot of people. You've seen it with some of the teams that you follow. You ask a lot of some of these guys, but you just don't want them to ruin it for you. You want them to lose the game if they were not the better team that day, not to just give the game away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is like, quarterbacks are what make your team run. You know what I mean? That's really why it's the most important position in the game of football. It just is. A lot of people will say, oh, well, no, pass rusher is, or wide receiver is, or running back is, or whatever. Left tackle is. Like, the left tackle is a really important position, and right tackle as well. But quarterback is the absolute, like, without a doubt, the most important position to not only obtain, but also to drive your team to winning. The quarterback is your leader. The quarterback is the guy that just runs the offense. He does everything. So, and you can see in today's league, the teams that don't have a quarterback, how successful are they? They could have the best roster that you've ever seen, but if they don't have a quarterback, or if they have a average to below average quarterback, they're not really going that far. And there's been rare occasions where that equation was proven wrong. I mean, you look at the Baltimore Ravens when they had that dynamite defense, phenomenal defense, but they had Trent Dilfer as their quarterback, below average Q, who they end up winning a championship with.
They also met the right type of team too as well. I remember that season, and I'm a diehard Giants fan, but I'm more of a realist too. I mean, I remember they were making that run, and they surprisingly had just played enough to beat some of those guys. But I knew what type of quarterback we had in Kerry Collins. I knew what type of team we had all together.
Yeah.
There with Jason Sehorn at corner and things like that. Did we have enough to get there? Okay. Did I think we had any chance to win the Super Bowl that season? I don't think we really did. So when we came and made it to that game and we had to face that defense and all those guys, Ed Reed, all those guys in their youth, right there, Trent Dilfer just had not screwed it up for him. But that defense was such a stellar defense in that moment for them that I knew that we were in trouble. Once we got to that game, I was like, we are not going to win this one, but I'm going to watch it and support my team.
Oh, yeah,
but
100%.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You build a team a certain way. If it's your system and it's your scheme and it works and everybody buys in on it, you can do it. All you ask of the quarterback is to not screw it up, and that's what I got to see last year. Like I told them at moments that you just looked at it and you're like, yeah, we're in this game. Like, we kept it close. I mean, we're there. And then you're like, damn it, if we only did have that guy.
And that's the thing, too.
And like he said, just real quick, Justin Herbert was there. And we've heard so many connections, too, where the Giants might be going for Herbert and here and there, and he was there.
And they didn't.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
And now,
now they're kicking themselves.
Hindsight is 2020 right now. Hindsight's 2020 right now. And there it is, after the fact. But
and that's the thing, too, is the Giants, they had a very, very promising defense last year. They showed up. They played tremendously well. And what's got to be really exciting for Giants fans is that now after this offseason, they managed to build upon that productivity that they got last year with this defense and how good they were playing. Now they added more fuel to the fire on that side of the ball to make them even better. And then along with that, what were they missing? They were missing weapons. Weapons, not Golden Tate, guy that rolls around on a wheelchair on the field and doesn't get open at all, drops the ball half the time now at his age. I don't know what happened.
Big practice guy,
you know
and then when the game's there's nothing.
And also, you also think about Evan Ingram, at tight end. Like Brian Noe, like when we were talking with him, like he even brought up, he's like, hey, you could do worse at tight end, but the problem is that he just doesn't rise to the occasion. He drops the ball way too often, especially on first down plays. It's 3rd and 6, and they dump it off to him, and he drops it. You know what I mean? So it's disappointing. So now, what the Giants have now is not only they have a what looks like a top 15, maybe even potentially a top 10 defense, but also they paired that up with all the weapons that Daniel Jones could ever want or need. Darius Slayton's, Sterling Shepard is coming back. And then you add Kenny Galladay to that receiving core. How do you not get excited? And the return of Saquon Barkley, who, mind you, Barkley was going off his rookie year, his sophomore year, without an offensive line and without any receiving weapons. So now you pair them all up together right now. How could you not be excited as a Giants fan?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing people weren't afraid of with that offensive line and that team early on last season. You didn't have those major weapons. So you had Golden Tate, and then Sterling Shepard, we've seen that he's injured half the time. Evan Ingram, same thing. We've seen this song and dance, so they're not afraid of that at all.
Oh, yeah.
So you knew the thing was sort of like when we talked about Le'Veon Bell with the Jets when he was there. People were Le'Veon Bell, he's going to light it up now. He's their star running back with this.
No offensive line.
What's everybody else's game plan? Let's shut down Le'Veon Bell. So what did they do? Let's shut down Saquon Barkley and pressure Daniel Jones. We already know he can't hang on to the football if we pressure him. He can't see it coming. That's our game plan. And lo and behold, that's what they ended up doing until the Giants were able to figure it out. And Jason Garrett, being added onto the mix as the new, offensive coordinator there, being able to go do a couple pistol plays here and there with Daniel Jones too, and get him out in the open. Yes, he did tackle himself, in this field, wide open and stuff. But they eventually did score in that same drive, so that was good, which was I was happy about. But I think if they do a little more of that and make it a little different for them, give them different looks, it'll make it a little better for this team overall moving forward. And his fact that I like his points too that he had on a lot of these other quarterbacks. Same thing with Jimmy G and Matthew Stafford as well, being underlooked, being there over with Detroit. And like you said, imagine if you put, say, Sam Darnold or some of these other guys on Detroit with those teams that they had, how well would they have done even there? You'd be hearing the same type of stuff, if not better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's all out there. I mean, And Brian Noe, it's a pleasure having him with us tonight. Hopefully we can have him on later on in the season when we get rocking and rolling.
Right.
Excuse me. I'm super excited. I know, camps are going to be starting, the bigger camps in the off season.
Training camp.
Yep, absolutely. We have stuff for us that's going to be getting pretty soon, getting up and coming, giveaways and some other news out of our camp. But a lot of different stuff going on in the NFL. We're excited. It was a pleasure having Brian Noe out there. Make sure you guys like the video, share the video, follow us on Twitter, FB_Noe, and then you can see Brian Noe there as well. Give him a shout out and a follow. And also on Facebook, if you're on Facebook and you're watching us now for the first time too, check it out on Facebook. We're Football on the Know, W/Jim and Joe. It's our page. But join the group. We have a lot of fun people in our group. We don't get crazy into crazy arguments, stuff like that. You don't like all those dickheads out there and shout outs that you're at your teams, blah, blah, and you suck. That's not here. We're a bunch of friends here and family. Give your opinion. I respect your opinion. That's cool. And it's basically case closed. Football on the Know Show. And on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Tackle the notification bell so then you know when we go live every time on YouTube. That's where it's at. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday nights for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.